Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald, and today we're going back to the windswept shores of Largs in Ayrshire on October 2nd, 1263, to explore one of the most pivotal moments in Scotland's medieval past, the Battle of Largs. This battle between the forces of King Haakon IV of Norway and the Scots under King Alexander III marked a decisive turning point in the struggle for control over the western seaboard of Scotland. Now, to set the stage, by the mid-13th century, the Norse had controlled parts of Scotland's western islands for centuries. These islands, from the Hebrides to the Isle of Man, were known to the Norse as the Southern Isles and were ruled by magnates loyal to the Norwegian crown. But by the reign of Alexander III, Scottish kings had set their sights on consolidating these islands into the Scottish realm. Alexander's father, Alexander II, had also attempted to wrest control from Norway, even trying to purchase the islands, but it was the young Alexander III who would prove successful. The battle that led to this success had roots in diplomacy, cunning, and a bit of luck with the weather. As the autumn of 1263 approached, Haakon IV sailed from Norway with one of the largest fleets ever assembled in the Norse world, numbering in the thousands of vessels. His mission, to reassert Norwegian sovereignty over the Hebrides and punish the Scots for their incursions. By late September, Haakon's fleet had anchored in the Firth of Clyde near the Cumbraes, ready to invade. And then the weather struck. On the night of September 30th, a ferocious storm battered the Norwegian fleet, driving several ships aground near the shores of Largs. The storm was a turning point, and Alexander III's patient diplomacy had bought him enough time for the weather to work in his favour. With Norwegian ships damaged and scattered, their forces were vulnerable. On October 2nd, as the Norwegians attempted to salvage their vessels on the Ayrshire coast, a Scottish army under Alexander of Dundonald arrived. The Scots, composed of both infantry and cavalry, moved toward the Norwegians, who were divided between a group on the beach and a smaller contingent on a nearby mound. When the smaller group tried to rejoin their comrades on the beach, confusion broke out, and the main Norwegian force mistakenly believed they were in retreat. Panic set in, and the Norwegians fled towards their ships. The Scots pressed their advantage, taking the high ground and engaging the Norwegians in fierce skirmishes along the beach. Both sides fought hard, but by the end of the day, the Norwegians had regained the mound and prepared to withdraw. The Scots, sensing victory but also recognising the deteriorating weather, pulled back as well. Haakon's fleet, battered and with diminishing supplies, retreated to Orkney to wait out the winter. The battle itself was inconclusive, with no clear victor emerging on the battlefield. But strategically, it was a monumental success for Scotland. Haakon's defeat at Largs signalled the end of Norse ambitions in Scotland. Over the next few months, Haakon's health deteriorated, and he died in Orkney in December 1263. His passing marked the end of Norway's control over the Hebrides and the Isle of Man. 3 years later, in 1266, the Treaty of Perth officially transferred these territories to Scotland, bringing centuries of Norse influence to a close. The Battle of Largs wasn't just a victory for Alexander III, it was a triumph for Scottish sovereignty. It solidified Scotland's control over its western seaboard and ended over 500 years of Norse raids and invasions. For nearly 40 years afterward, Scotland enjoyed a period of relative peace and prosperity. Today, the battle is commemorated by a striking monument known as the Pencil, erected near the site of the conflict in Largs. Each year, the town celebrates its Viking heritage with the Largs Viking Festival, which includes reenactments of the battle and events celebrating the area's history. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Battle of Largs, a moment where Scotland's future was decided by weather, warfare, and the indomitable spirit of its people. Tune in tomorrow for more insights into Scotland's rich and fascinating history. I'm Colin MacDonald, and this has been This Day in Scottish History. Haste you back.